Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here with episode 104 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it is me, the Lone Vault Wanderer.
And it's me, Karak, with ACG.
And we have a special patron guest with us today. Would you kindly introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is James. I have a YouTube channel called MrMattyPlays, and I do Skyrim and Fallout videos.
Hell yes.
I'm going to search for it
awesome
right now.
Awesome videos, too. Yeah, awesome videos. I'll have them linked in the description down below. We've talked a couple of times, Aled, so it's nice to have you here on the show. We got a lot of games to discuss, as always. If you want to become a part of the conversation here on the podcast, feel free to look into contributing to the Patreon. On top of that, we have all our mobile listening links in the description down below. So let's roll into our first topic. We got a lot to talk about, so
I want to give a kudo to somebody real quick.
Oh, go for it.
To you. I gotta say, so this is something that,
okay.
and I don't waste my fucking time doing this. So this is real. I was really surprised. Like, if people don't understand how much work a YouTuber does, I was going back and reading some of what Matty's been talking about. So the dude's got like special websites for mobile uploads. All me, I forget links. Like, I won't even link my own shit. I'll be all, there's a video, and people be like, dude, what video? Oh, sorry, I forgot to make it fucking, published or whatever. I gotta say, dude, you do some spectacular behind the scenes work. I was looking through our Twitter conversations with you, Lone, and I. And it's
Thank
like,
you.
you're all talking to this dude. You're like, I need art drawn so that, fucking this does this and this. And I'm like, I'm happy if people show up, most likely because they probably hate talking to me. But seriously, bravo to you, dude, because I just looking back on this stuff, I think that YouTube, we talk all about the bad shit, but there's some pretty fucking hard workers out there. And you're definitely one of them. And I just wanted to say that. I saw it a couple days ago, and I was like, I got to make sure that Matty knows just how much even I like appreciate that kind of shit.
Don't YouTubers just play video games, though? Is that all they do?
Yeah, they do nothing. Dude, I'm not lying. I don't want to say too much else because I don't know what he's talking about. The dude, like, just watching all of he's juggling like 85. And, we talk about this because some of us are late to podcasts and stuff, and so we'll give each other shit. But I'm like, at the same time, if you're juggling 27 different balls, there's the occasional time you'll drop it. And it's pretty fucking insane. Again, the podcast, too. You guys do podcasts perfectly. Like, every single Friday.
You're a part of it.
I know, but I mean, my own shit. And you'll just be like, we're doing it on Friday. There's a nuclear holocaust due to North Korea, but we're going to do it from our bunker. Like, okay. Anyway, I didn't mean to break up the conversation.
No,
I had
fine.
to say.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. Yeah. Yeah. It's always nice to hear that. But we're going to let's start off with Star Wars. It's Star Wars Celebration Weekend. I think that's a good place to lead off. Are we thinking we're going to talk a little bit about the Battlefront 2 leak first? Because by the time this is out, we were talking about this behind the scenes, but for the listeners now, we record on Fridays, as you know. And so by the time our discussion's out on the leak, the full Battlefront 2 will already be revealed. So we're just going to briefly cover that. Did you guys all have a chance to catch the leak? I don't know if EA actually took it down yet or not.
Do you know what was funny? Yeah. The funniest thing about this is that I think it was the Star Wars Twitter account. They made a tweet that said, transmission intercepted. The full reveal will be out on this.
Yeah.
So they took full advantage of it. And I'm not going to put on my tinfoil hat and say that they leaked it just to get attention for it. I don't think that's the case. But they're like, you know what? That's just the small teaser. We'll make a funny tweet about it, and we'll release the full thing whenever it is. I think that was the best way you could have dealt with it. Best way.
Yeah, I agree. But that's what made me put on my tinfoil hat, because at first I was like, oh, it's just a leak. And then they were like, full trailer. I'm like, did you guys plan for a leak and say, like, yo, we got this full thing to show them, and like conveniently the shorter version leaked? That's when I put on the hat.
Matty, you remember exactly what Shinobi said, who, if no one knows who Shinobi is, he's pretty much this notorious leaker in the games industry. But Shinobi is like invited to game events, and he pretty much said that they tell me shit. Right, like, hey, Shinobi, we have this, man. I don't know what you want to do with information.
Yeah, they do. He's different than I think like a lot of other people. Like, he's not PR, but he is now. Yeah. Like, he's even told me that on my podcast and here on your guys' he's like, yeah, they will inform me. He's like a fan that became a leaker, that became a fan leaker, that became PR press, sort of.
Like, they're just the guy he goes to say, like, hey, if you want to just let this
word out. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, guess what's going on? What do you think, Alan, of the actual teaser, Alan? What do you think about it?
I think it looks stunning. I mean, it's quite obvious that they're focusing on space rather than, the planets, planet-based wars or battles. But but hopefully they actually listen to the community this time and actually do space battles properly.
Yeah, it sounds.
Well, yeah, campaign as well.
3 developers in on this game. I think Motive's doing the campaign, and Criterion's helping with that, and then obviously Dice is doing the multiplayer. It's a lot of hands in the cookie jar here, which kind of gets me nervous because sometimes all those different creative minds, you just can't all be on the same wavelength. So that's the only thing that really does concern me. But from what we saw from the leak, all eras, I was stunned. I was fucking stunned. I expected them to have the original trilogy and the new era of Star Wars. The Clone Wars, the CIS. What the fuck? I did not expect that at all. That blew me away. I was really excited about that. Not even gonna lie. I'm the first to say I was so disappointed with the first Battlefront. But this definitely did reignite some excitement that I didn't think I had in me when I saw them take me by surprise and say, like, yeah, there's all eras. You know, you see Darth Maul, Yoda. It was wild. I was really taken back by that.
I mean, they don't really have an excuse to, balls this up because, after the backlash they had in the first Battlefront, I mean, you're going to have to get your shit together at some point.
Well, yeah, it sounds too good to be true, in my opinion. It's like everyone's like, oh, we want campaigns. Oh, we want the all entire eras. We want space battles. And it's like, where's the sacrifice going to be made? I'd imagine it's going to be in the campaign just because it's not going to be by Dice, but still it's a campaign involving Dice. So you wonder. I'm not going to sell short.
Jade Raymond's first campaign after Assassin's Creed. It's her company doing it, isn't it not?
Yeah.
This morning when we talked, somebody had said it was Jade Raymond. Either way, let's say it's either one.
Okay.
Because I don't want to look up the internet while we're trying to use bandwidth here. But if it's either one, you were saying that you're a little worried that maybe like they won't connect. I'm sort of happy about that, and here's why. Campaigns in many of these games feel like multiplayer with bots. So I want it to not be connected. I want it to be like, here's your single player motherfuckers. This is Titanfall 2, but longer. Like, this is good. Because Titanfall 2 was way too short for me as a single player.
Me too.
Yeah,
so so imagine if they're like, it is going to be different because it's going to be, you're going to get almost 2 games for one. And I know what you meant. You didn't necessarily mean that. You just meant, interconnectedness.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah,
I know what you meant. But I'm stoked. I'm not that impressed by the trailer at all. Like, I'm happy they're doing the eras, but CGI / this footage, and then they switch over subtly, and I'm just like,
that's what I was gonna get at. Is the biggest no in my book was, and I made a little wish list for the reveal, and I was like, please just show gameplay. I was like, we're kind of done with the CGIs. It's the wow, okay, that's great. I want to see what I'm gonna be playing, and then it brings up the same argument that happened in 2015 where you got them saying, oh, it's in engine, it looks pretty close to that. It's like, well, it's still not the game. I don't care if it's in engine or whatever the hell you're going to call it. Just show the damn gameplay. And I know that builds up the hype for E3, but EA's almost entirely pulled out of E3. They got that EA Play thing now, and they just let the consumers go and decide for themselves, and YouTubers spread the word. And, I mean, obviously you have the big media sites covering it too, but it's a lot different than how it used to be, where you wonder why they hold those cards closer to their chest, especially with the release that's happening in November.
It's interesting that we kind of talked about that on one of the other podcasts where we said, don't start off with a CGI trailer. Have it be like the 3rd trailer or the 4th trailer to kind of say, here's just like a random cool looking trailer that'll be great for TV spots. It'll be great for other YouTube advertising. But obviously, the people that really watch the first trailer are hardcore fans of the game, most likely. They want to see gameplay. Second one, they'll want to see a different kind of trailer. And then give us your fancy CGI. Give us a trailer that will, I guess, how would you describe it? Just make it look like a real-life version of the game.
I think you made a good point when you said Fallout 4 did it well, because I never thought of it that way, that you see the game, and then you're like, what would it look like in real life? And then Fallout 4's live-action trailer, it's like, oh, that's exactly what I thought of. So I think it's a good way of doing it that you don't really come to grips with until it happens.
Well, I always like me a nice CGI trailer.
I'm curious where you stand on CGI trailers versus gameplay.
Well, as long as it conveys a message about what you're going to play, then I don't really have that strong of an opinion on it. But looking at the trailer, it does show that they are going to, focus on space battles.
Yeah.
So as long as it conveys a message. Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I don't really have any strong opinions about it.
Yeah, I like the idea of space battles. I mean, for me, I'm not trying to speak for everyone when I say this. I was one of the people who didn't really care that space battles were gone because I thought they were pretty shitty in the original Battlefront games. If I'm brutally honest, I really They were very much just how do I describe it?
Simple.
They were. I wouldn't even say simple because the premise of Battlefront back then was pretty simple too. It was more so that I felt it could have been better. And when you saw the take from DICE with the space battles, it didn't seem like that much more. I like the idea of infiltrating the ship and you go to the core and you destroy it. That was cool. But it just always felt like a piece was missing where I was like not really that hurt with them being missing. I thought they fit well in Galactic Conquest where you'd clash ships as you're all going around conquering planets and finally both ships meet up and it's like now you got a space battle. That made sense and that's why I like them. But in the terms of them missing in Battlefront 1, I really wasn't that sore about it. But to see them taking that in consideration for fans who do like them is good. I do hope, but I doubt they will bring back Galactic Conquest. That would be insane, though. I can't imagine they do it because that would sound like they're stretching thin, in my opinion. But
you mean the amount of features would stretch resources?
Like I couldn't imagine that. That would be like Battlefront 2 back then, where you got the campaign, even though it was kind of like the movies. You got the Galactic Conquest, and you had the multiplayer or instant action at that point in time. I cannot imagine that, and it's kind of sad that's how games have become nowadays. But I think it's because they're more expensive, and I'd rather a more focused single-player story that's good. And then maybe down the line, if they could possibly add in as DLC a Galactic Conquest, because that would actually be a good feature to add, because it would be like a new entire mode for the game. You know, it wouldn't just be maps and new heroes, which I know is a good premise in DLC platform. But yeah, that's just my overall thoughts.
Yeah, it bothers me because, you and I have talked about this before. Whenever you buy a sequel, you sort of hope the sequel has the bare minimum that the title before it had. And what I don't want to do with Star Wars Battlefront 2, the 2-inning, is buy it and have it have less of what the original had. So, for example, VR, the VR missions that they later put in, I would really like to see them, if you tested it with your original and now that PSVR is doing okay, I'd like to see them branch out and say, we're adding a little bit here for that. They don't necessarily need to have everything that the DLC and all this shit added to number one, but I'm really tired of the Madden 2006 through 2018 style of gameplay sequels that we see a lot of times, where the next title resets you back in not only features but gameplay. Right. And I get what people are going to say. They're going to be like, whoa, that's a huge amount of work in a smaller time. Correct. Like, yes, that's correct. So go do it. That's the
more
point.
Time developing.
Yeah. I'm crossing my fingers that we see at least most of the areas that were in one all be touched on into, and you don't feel like you're getting 1.5.
Yeah, that's what I said, was that the reason I expect 2 to be bigger is because 1 was clearly the framework building. It was so obvious that, especially after the game came out, I was like, okay, they were building a framework for a bunch of future titles here. And that's why I expect 2 to be really big, like lots of maps, lots of heroes and stuff, and especially now you got multiple developers. Like now DICE isn't really spreading themselves thin. They can go all in on the multiplayer and let the other developers focus on the single player stuff where they can go all in on that. So it can be a pretty sizable game, I'd imagine, or much bigger than the first one, more importantly. Because, it should, you'd imagine, carry what was in the first one over into the second one. That wouldn't make much sense to just leave that behind.
Right.
Not just the iconic planets, but, like, I hope they don't ditch the Rogue One stuff. That was an amazing movie, and a lot of people like the DLC for that.
Fantastic movie, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, why would you ditch that? At least that's just, at this point in time, what we know so far. Yeah. But speaking of Star Wars in general, how about the Last Jedi trailer? Beautiful.
I haven't watched that.
You haven't watched it?
I've watched that, yeah.
Oh, my. Oh.
I'm searching it right now.
I don't know, I mean, it was a trailer, I guess, but
it was just the idea that it's another Star Wars movie. I agree.
Okay. Well, of course. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
The thing that really got me, though, I was like, this feels a lot more grim, so to say. You know, it wasn't that typical John Williams music in the background as, you know, you see signs of hope. It was like you saw a lot of struggle in the trailer, and it didn't really depict much of what was happening, which I'm glad they were listening, because apparently I didn't watch many trailers for The Force Awakens, but apparently there were some major spoilers in that, and it seemed like they were trying to avoid that with The Last Jedi, especially because there was the thing, and it got ruined for me, sadly, through the comments. I remember to this day, I remember to this day reading a Mets article, just like it was an injury update, and someone put it in the comments there. I'm like, go fuck yourself. Like,
what they put in the comments? The end or something?
The big twist turn, what happened with Han Solo. And they literally said what happened there, and like it was like a quick little comment. It wasn't like I could like stop reading halfway. I was just like, why put this on an article about a sports team? You fuck.
No, Matty, like no joke. Anytime there's a major movie or something that comes out, I will avoid not just like I guess a movie specific Facebook or Twitter follow, anything, because even going through your Facebook timeline, you'll just look at random comments, and then random people just to be fuckheads, right? They'll just on a random meme, they'll post a spoiler of a movie that just came out, and you're like, I was going to watch that this weekend, and it's not like someone can say, well, get off the internet, because you weren't looking for that, you were just on your Facebook, right? So.
Yeah, people it's like that in The Walking Dead. I like and favorite a lot of things on. Oh no.
Go on. I know what you're getting at, though. I've had that show spoiled for me when I used to watch it.
I like and favorite a lot of things related to Walking Dead on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I couldn't watch The Walking Dead until a few days later, but I had to avoid Facebook completely, otherwise it'll just spoil.
Like the plague.
That's what I do on YouTube. But I'm excited for a game. I don't watch videos on the game, because then they'll pop up in my recommended section where I can't avoid them, and it'll be like the ending for this game. I'm like, no, do not show me that. I don't want to see
why so and so dies, and you're like, wait, why did you say that in the title? Exactly. Like I've seen that too, like 7 ways in which so and so died in this title and why it matters, and you're all okay, Dick. Why would you ever
why put it in the fucking title?
Yeah. And they do it. It's I don't know. It's pretty shitty of people, but it does pop up a lot.
Yeah. But as for the trailer, Lone, did you watch it? I want to get your hot take on it.
It does look a little bit more dark, like you said. I am looking forward to it, and I'll watch it. Right, but you know me, I'm not like this Star Wars fanatic. I'm just like, you know what, it's a good movie. I'll enjoy it for what it was. I think
so
my favorite Star Wars.
You're telling me, right?
No, I'm about to tell you right now. My favorite Star Wars movie was. See, I didn't even know the fucking name of it. The recent one, the one where
Force Awakens or Rogue One.
No, Rogue One.
Rogue One. I was gonna say Rogue One. That was a fucking fantastic.
That was
movie.
A phenomenal. Fucking film. And you know what? You know what it was? It was the diverse cast of characters. It was just the way it ended. Fucking fantastic. I'd watch that again any day of the week.
I agree. Yeah, that was a fantastic movie. But The Last Jedi, it looks interesting. I'm not like. That's what I do with Star Wars, though, is that I don't watch many trailers because I love the universe so much. I'm not like a fanatic. Like, there are people out there who read like every Star Wars comic, every book. You know, they know so much about it because they grew up with it. We're kind of in that era now where we have people who were alive when Star Wars first began, and it's like I grew up with the prequel generation, and so I didn't have like the best intro, and now I'm kind of living like the more glorious days of Star Wars. So it's interesting to see everyone's takes. But what I was getting on to was that, this will probably be the only trailer I watch for The Last Jedi, just to get like a feel for the tone. So like now when I go into the theaters on December, I'm gonna expect something a little dark.
But you know what the problem is, and this is fucking happening with most movies nowadays. When you watch a trailer, you expect not to be spoiled of the movie. You expect for them to show you the best bits, but I swear sometimes nowadays they're showing you this mini version of the entire fucking movie, and you're like, why did you show me that?
And ladies and gentlemen, never watch launch trailers. Never. It is literally a fucking summary of the story.
It's a timeline. Yeah,
like you know what annoyed me? It didn't really annoy me, but I guess it did somewhat. With Thor Ragnarok, it showed the bit with showing fucking the Hulk, and I'm just like, you know what? I get why you showed the Hulk in the trailer, but that would have come across so much better by surprise in the cinema. It really would have.
Yeah.
And I get it from a marketing
what I'm saying,
perspective.
then, like, review, I get it, but I also think it would also be more effective if you heard reviewers go and like, oh, dude, this surprise character appears, and oh my gosh, it'll excite so many fans. That gets me in the seats. Not seeing him there. Tell you the truth, the Hulk had an awful movie. Like, that doesn't put me in the seats knowing he's there. You know?
Yeah. I think that there's two different groups of fans, too, because the people I know don't read reviews, so they would never see that. So it may be poignant to them if it happens, but I know a lot of people, now that that's become a meme already, he's a guy I know from work, is literally on shirts already. Yeah. So I think I get what you mean, but boy, did that pay off for them. Like marketing, like Lone said, and again, just doesn't like it. You know,
from a marketing perspective, if I was in their shoes, I would have done the same.
Yeah, it's epic,
and that's why I hate it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it makes sense. I will say, when it happened, it's one of the rare times I don't really laugh most of the time at one-liners. Like, I'm like, okay, whatever. That actually caused me to, because his excitement when he looks at the screen and he's like, it's okay, he's a guy I know from work. And I'm like, what the fuck?
And then they go and fight anyways.
Yeah, I was just like, and I just loved it when he's like, yes, and everybody is sort of
what
like,
what the fuck?
Oh, dude, it was, and I'm going to be honest, the last Thor, I like Thor, it didn't wow me. So this looks... You know, obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy rubbed off so hard on this that there's going to be some contact shedding. But seriously, there was enough in this that I really like. I mean, they changed a lot to make it feel like Guardians of the Galaxy, which is okay. I know some people don't like that, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited for that.
I got a lot of movie catching up to do. I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy. Have not seen any Thor movies.
To the Galaxy,
Guardians of the Galaxy, bro.
I gotta see Captain America: Civil War. Like I said, I have a lot. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I know. I don't have to tell you guys.
None of us are going to argue. Yes, you're bad.
What else is on our list? Lone, you were pretty hyped about the Nintendo Switch stuff. I saw your tweets.
Oh, man, there's just so many games. Oh, fuck, I've closed it. I'll get it back up. But, yeah, so there was a Nintendo Switch Direct the other day, and it just showed a bunch of new games for the Switch that, obviously, with the Switch... I've put about... I'm sure many other people are like this, right? I put about 70 hours plus into Breath of the Wild. But this is the time where, all right, I'm somewhat getting towards the end of it, even though the game doesn't really end. What's coming next? You know, what other games are going to be released on this console? And Jesus Christ, they seem to be doing a pretty good job. And bearing in mind that they've sold almost 1 million copies or units of the Nintendo Switch.
They've sold more units of Breath of the Wild than the Switch itself. Did you ever see
my mind? People are buying the game seemingly without buying the fucking console. Maybe they're just buying
GTA 5.
Yeah.
Like
GTA 5 still sells stupid.
There are some games that, like, you got to think. Has anyone ever thought of buying a game twice? I'm not even kidding. I've considered it when I like a game so much, like I want to support the developer, give them a little more. I've considered at times like buying it twice.
I own 4 versions of Oxenfree. I own every version of that, but rare.
For example,
I've bought KOTOR 1,000,001 times.
Oh, well, me too.
Yeah, I bought four like I have 3 different copies of it, and I bought it twice, right? So I got the review copy. I bought the Xbox One collector's edition to get the Pip-Boy, and then with the Nuke version, I think Fallout 4 comes with that. I don't know, but I'm not too sure.
Oh wait, Fallout 4 doesn't come with the anthology now. Yeah, but I know what you're talking about because I got it on PC for review. Then I bought the collector's edition for PS4.
Yeah.
Well, Alan, do you buy multiple versions, Alan?
I bought about 3 versions of Fallout 4. One for my PC and one for my Xbox, and I've got one collector's edition for the Xbox One, sealed.
The way it goes, right?
Sealed.
So
you're gonna resell that damn scalper?
Yeah, hopefully it might be worth something, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's fun because recently they discontinued the mini NES, and I actually got one. So they've stopped making this console, even though every time it sold, it just sold out.
Yeah, so stupid.
It's a weird decision to me. But anyways, back to the Switch. So the games that they released, so Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is coming out on the 28th of April. Ultra Street Fighter 2 is coming. Minecraft is coming, which I'm really fucking excited about. You got a couple new Sonic games. Shut up, Matty.
What system isn't that on, though? Like, we got Minecraft, so does my phone. Okay, so does my computer, so does every fucking console. The Vita has it.
What system do we currently have, aside from the Vita, because no one likes that, do we have where you can play proper Minecraft on the go, aside from your phone? Like, have you ever tried to play? Yeah, but no one has a Vita, Matty. Like,
I'm just saying, though.
I'm just saying, like, in terms of popular, recent, new consoles, what console, what unit can you play Minecraft? It's
actually pretty popular. I'm not saying that just to play
devil's advocate. And it's popular, but have you tried to play Pocket Edition on your phone or your iPad?
When I was in like middle school or junior high, something like that. And I remember how fucking bad it was. I was just bored on the bus. I was like, this is terrible.
Touch controls. It's shit. So I'm looking forward to just having a handheld experience of Minecraft using a controller, right? But the thing that I wanted to mention is that Payday 2 is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Fucking Payday 2. Now this is, I think, important because this is a game that culture-wise doesn't necessarily fit what Nintendo used to be about, right? I mean, I guess to an extent, Bayonetta doesn't really either, but it seems like Nintendo is starting to bring and really actually starting to get the support of third parties, even if the game itself doesn't necessarily fit the culture of what Nintendo used to be like. So we're getting Payday 2. I'm not going to be surprised if we start to see more and more third-party games announced for this system. It seems to be doing well. There is a solid lineup coming for the Switch, and I'm really looking forward to it. Add the Virtual Console
picture or something like that. It's like they have a first-party game for like every month for the rest of the year, or something along those lines. It's like they just need to get the third-party support, and they'll be good to go. It's literally all they need.
And I think that's
definitely
the point
the good news.
You know what I mean? So, and there's a bunch of other games that I didn't mention as well. They've got Monopoly coming, I guess, if you like that. Puyo Tetris.
Miniature Nerd made a good point on Twitter. He's like, can you even play a whole game of Monopoly with the Switch's battery life? I was like, oh, fuck. I never even thought
without, like, clocking your family members with a controller. Like, fuck it! Stop stealing money! Well, you can't really do that. But anyway.
I saw there was this game called NBA Playgrounds, and I think that's coming to the Switch.
Oh, dude. I loved NBA Playgrounds. Didn't love it. I liked it.
It came. Did it come out already?
No, it was on the. I think it was Xbox 360. If you're talking about the one that had the slightly weird skew to its camera, it was There was NBA Playgrounds and one other one.
Oh, I'm interested because there's a new maybe
it might be a port.
Maybe it's a port. I don't know. It's some new one or something like that that's coming
out. Let me look
this month.
It is NBA Playgrounds, right?
Yeah, that's what it's called. And like it does have like the tiny players with the big heads. They do like crazy dunks and shit.
Yeah.
It's like NBA Jam and all that stuff. But yeah, I heard that was coming to the Switch, and that really I was like, ooh, I'd love to play like NBA Street on the go. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I was pretty hyped when I heard that.
But I guess
I think I'm wrong.
Is that the Switch is getting support? It's selling well. I think the first month sales in the US for the Nintendo Switch were on par relatively to the Xbox One and a little bit lower than the PS4. So this console is selling just as well as the PS4 and Xbox One did.
It just needs legs.
At least in the US. And I think it's getting there, to be honest, Matty. It's getting these games. The next game that I'm going to pick up is Mario Kart. And again, I know a lot of people probably played Mario Kart 8, but remember that this is a console that's meant to win back old-time fans that probably haven't played Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this, not having played the Wii U, and thinking,
well, yeah, I was going to say, not many people own the Wii U. I was surprised that Nintendo didn't port more games from the Wii U over to the Switch, knowing that almost undoubtedly it would be more successful than the Wii U.
That's where the Virtual Console comes into it.
So
or the eShop,
I was
or whatever
for that. I mean, that definitely caught my attention more than I think a lot of people, or for more people than I think others will give it credit for. Is that like when I heard, oh, Mario Kart 8's coming out this month, I was like, I haven't played it. I've been dabbling in Zelda. I want to beat Persona before I beat anything else right now. And so, like, for me, that's my next step is Zelda. But then it's, like, nice to know that after that, I'll have another thing to hop into on my Switch. And especially because I like Mario Kart. I mean, last time I played it, I was dating a girl, and I got fucking embarrassed. I don't know where the talent came from because she didn't play. but she fucking wiped the floor with me. So that was the last time I played.
Ass.
No, I'm not even kidding. It was some shit. I was like, where the fuck? But I got dusted.
So shit.
It was really bad. I was like, all right. I stopped playing from that point onward. So to recover my ego here, I think I need to pick up 8 Deluxe. And
wait, you stopped playing?
No, I'm kidding. Just I never played it after that. Like it just happened. It wasn't like I was actually damaged from the events, but coincidentally, that's the last time I remember playing. Because I have downstairs I have it. It's like the fucking wheel and everything for the Wii. That was the last Mario Kart I played. Which I don't know which that was, but yeah. So I've had enough time in between to actually be excited to play it. Is what I was getting at, really.
Yeah, Aled, do you have a Switch?
No, I wouldn't touch it, to be honest.
They're fighting words.
Well, guess what? I own one, and I got to be honest, I don't remember being this disappointed in a console.
Yeah,
come on.
No, the thing we talked about last time with the hand, the thumbstick thing on the right, like all that stuff is it's one of those systems that I'm disappointed because it could have been. There are so many little issues with it that some people pass by it and you love it. It's everything, the control, the performance, the battery life, the recharge speed. There is literally not a single positive about that without a negative attached directly to it. And that bothers me. And the reason why it bothers me is because they had a chance to knock it out of the park despite it selling well. The thing is, a lot of shitty things sell well, which I'm not saying the Switch is, but I'm saying we can't look at sales and immediately think that's awesome. It's just ultimately insanely disappointing. And it's because I thought it was going to do all these other. I'm glad for the games because I have it, and right now it's disappointing. That doesn't mean in 6 months I'm not going to love it. That happens. But right now there is so many negatives that the one good game doesn't do anything for me.
I guess what you're saying is, and especially when the negatives go down to hardware. Like for instance, when I'm playing Breath of the Wild, there are still, even after 2 patches, there are still frame rate issues when you have it docked. Right. And those are very, very apparent, especially when you're switching from handheld to TV mode.
Exactly.
So when there are issues like that and the shape of the controller and the charging speed, even though that's down to the dock, those things can't necessarily be fixed, unless they release a different revision of the console. Like with frame rate issues, you can't have the games wrong. Like you can only optimize so much before you're like, you know what, the actual specs of this hardware just aren't good enough.
Or you do a patch and do an optimization and you say you can run it at 720p docked and it's going to run at a locked frame rate.
Honestly, I'd prefer that. I would prefer playing 720 because right now it's just going from 720p to 900p and having frame drops. And I'm like, well,
exactly.
What's the difference between 720p and 900p? Really, it's nothing. I'd prefer a more smoother experience. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So again, I'm not saying it's shitty. I'm saying for me and what I'm getting from it and all that, it's by far the largest disappointment.
That's fair enough.
And my hope is that in 6 months we're all talking and I'm like, it's my number one system. I mean, it's totally possible. That's just each system.
It always comes down to the games. I think even if a system is a little bit underpowered and it's a little bit shitty or whatever it is, so long as there's good games on there, man, sure. Most people are going to be happy with it.
Look at the PS3. I didn't like it that much when it came out, and by the end of that generation, it was the only system I used because they started giving really good games to it, and it started getting even support to the Xbox in the sense of like, you'd look at the Xbox and 360 and the PS3, and it was always like something was wrong with the PS3 version. It was like a little clunky or a lot slower. It just felt off.
But save game corruption.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Skyrim's one of the best examples. That was fucking awful. I never even touched Skyrim on the PS3. And so I look at that and how, eventually they got their act together and it ended up being better. It's not like Nintendo's act isn't together. It's more so that to tag on to what Karak said, that, like down the line, it could be something really special. Right now, I'm content just because I haven't beat Zelda, but I know I want to say in the minority, but I'm sure most people who bought a Switch did not get distracted with Persona and start playing that instead.
Right, yeah.
But and the thing is, you never really beat Zelda. Like there's just so much.
Just finish the main story, play enough to feel content, something along those lines.
It's like I always feel weird with open world games because I always try as much as I can leave some missions in the main story to always push me along, like very, very slowly. Yeah. Like I'm not a kind of guy that will play the fucking main mission straight away and say, all right, now I'll keep playing the game. I always like to have it at the back of my mind and say, at least I have this one main mission quest to go, and then I can just do other stuff to occupy my time.
The main story is kind of like keeping you going, and you fill it all out. You don't like to go back for the side stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
I hate finishing a main quest and then just doing side quests. To me, I lose all motivation.
That's what I do. I leave a main quest.
I always found it rewarding because sometimes like you'll be really attached to the game in a way where you want more of that universe, and you'll be like, oh, thank God I have some side quests left. Like I just want to soak in the experience and do a little more in here before I go. You know, that's how I feel at least. Because some games, and it's effective, some games will like cut you off like that, and it'll be like, oh man, like I need to do a second playthrough, and it's really effective. I think like Persona 4 is good in that way.
I wanted to see what Alad. That's what I wanted to see. So he said he didn't want to, or he wouldn't touch it, right, Alad? Is that what you said? Like that's not for you. No. Explain yourself. You're in court.
You're under oath, Alad.
Like, what do you think? What bothers you?
It's basically what Lone said. Like, the games don't interest me, to be honest. I can see the draw to Nintendo games. Like they're fun games to play, but it's just not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
I like my PC games. I enjoy PC games and their complexity, and just the Nintendo just doesn't give that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it really is down to content for you, right?
Yeah, practically. Yeah.
Interesting.
Makes sense.
Would you ever consider picking one up if there was more third-party support for this thing or not?
I'd have to see something first before, picking one up.
Would there be a killer game
on Switch?
Like, if there was one game that would out of the block make you buy a Switch, and so you could play it on the go, etc. Is there a game, and what would it be?
State of Decay 2.
Wow,
definitely. My man, best visitor ever.
Wow. Yeah, fair enough. That's a good choice.
I'm going to tell you right now, if State of Decay 2 comes out on Switch somehow magically, I would literally probably play it more on the Switch. Like, that would be so cool to just anywhere. Play. Oh, that's man.
Awesome. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I know, Alec, you were talking to me one time saying you were thinking about making like a State of Decay 2 wish list, and Karak, I know you're all over it, and I just want to hear your thoughts on the recent developments of it, because I know there's been some news popping up, something about, I want to say, an open world, maybe? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, so what they did was they basically took the original map. They're going to have 3 maps that are around that size. So it's not really open world. It's more like Walking Dead. You know how each series they're in a new city, I guess, is the way you describe it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little bit like number 1, where you could technically go back to the same city, but it pretended like it was a new place. This will be 3 that are larger than the original spot. And that are different towns completely. And so what they did was, they were saying in their blog post, they were trying to be pretty cagey, but then in their comments, they sort of gave some data away. They're basically making it a lot like, not episodes, but each town's going to have a distinct different feel to it. A small town to maybe bigger town, it sounds like. And the stuff that they've got for it, it just, you guys know, man, that game is
so when we're talking the map size, we'll call it, are you talking about, like, okay, for example, when you start off in State of Decay 1, you're in that small town, are they talking bigger than that? Or if you combine,
they're talking
like all
bigger,
of them, like the military camp and everything?
So in the first place, when you start State of Decay and you can do all those quests, you can play the entire game in the original, each map will be bigger than that original game map.
Okay.
So
there's
huge.
3 maps, right?
And there's 3 maps, and each map has a distinct flavor, as they're saying, that involves moving your people, just like you did in State of Decay 1, where you could move bases and they would indicate that you moved and all this stuff. So pretty big maps, to be honest.
That sounds interesting, actually.
What about you, Ayla? Is there something about it that, like, just you're really interested in for State of Decay 2?
Well, I like the base building aspect of State of Decay.
Yeah.
I feel like State of Decay really knows what I want, because I watched Walking Dead a lot. I really like the survival aspect of a zombie apocalypse. I don't really care about what cool way I can kill a zombie with a
like
disco ball. Yeah, but I hate that game, really.
Okay.
Because
I'm in agreement.
I mean, there's just
there's two takes on zombie slaying. It's more realistic survivalist experience, or the, like you said, the disco
over
ball
the top
crushing.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes back to when I played DayZ. You know, it's quite realistic. It immerses you in the universe, and I like those types of games that are complex and not just disco ball crushing, zombie killing.
No, I feel similar to that with Dead Rising. After a while, I don't care how cool the fucking weapons are. Killing zombies just gets boring. When that's the only pull factor to the game. And I'm not saying necessarily Dead Rising is, because I haven't played it properly to make that conclusion. Yeah, so when you're talking about games that have zombies in them, I am a bigger fan of the survival aspect, and base building is a part of that. So yeah,
I agree. I mean, I like Dead Rising. It's not like amazing, but I call it a junk food game. It's one of those games where you're in a party with friends or something. Online, I mean, and you're just talking.
Let me pull out my Dead Rising game. Let's all play
it. Like I don't need. It's just like I don't need to focus on this. I'm just gonna hit a button and watch gore and see what I can. Mix and match.
Yeah.
It's Call of Duty Battlefield. I mean, that's what it is. It's just two different style of games, like in the same genre.
It's a game you can play at a party with music blazing. You don't really need to listen to what's going on. Yeah.
Versus State of Decay, where if the dude sneaks up on you, there's a good chance.
Except in Dead Rising, they always try to tell this serious story. I just wonder what the fuck
it is funny,
doing. It contradicts everything the game does.
Do you know what it's like, Matty? It's like they got the 1980s hard rock movie video directors and they asked them to make stories. I'm not lying. Like when you play it, you're playing Dead Rising 4, which I loved. I like all the Dead Rising. Well, I didn't love it, but I like all the Dead Rising games for various reasons. And but at the time, you're like, what the fuck is what? It's like turn it up to 11, man. And you're like, okay, I get it, I guess. And then I enjoy that, but I totally see why somebody like you guys are it's not really for me. It's a little too one-sided where it's all about just how you kill. And I get that. I like that we have both to choose from.
Oh no, agreed.
Yeah. What was the other game? Left 4 Dead, is it?
That's fun. Yeah, but Left 4 Dead horde mode. There's a game called Earthfall. Talked about that a little bit, and that's kind of like a more current Left 4 Dead. So to say, not in the terms of the game setting and timeline, but
what is it?
It's called Earthfall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's basically Left 4 Dead, and I don't know when it's coming out, but it looks awesome. I played it.
And then you have Dying Light too, right?
Yeah,
you played that, Maddie.
Yeah, Dying Light was awesome.
Dying Light, it was, but
those types of games give me hope for zombie games, because anytime you hear zombie, you're like, how compelling. It's not that it's bad. It's just like you wonder how compelling can it be when it's been done so many times. And you can say the same about a lot of franchises and themes.
Almost any now,
but almost any.
It's about the creative take they have. And for example, in Dying Light, you're free running. You're using a fucking grappling hook, zipping across the city.
So I have a question for you, Maddie. Do you see then State of Decay, Dead Rising, Dead Island, and Dying Light? That's how I see it.
Dead Island.
Dead Island I love, but it's the shallow, just shallow, stupid shooting. And then you have Dying Light, which is parkour and a little bit more intelligence needed. Or I won't say intelligence. People will take that wrong. A little bit more attention needed.
Like Dying Light. What are you trying to say?
As he's playing this game. What the fuck, man?
Because I mean, I love, in a guilty pleasure kind of way, I like Dead Island. Because it's clearly very clunky, very buggy, but you can see underneath it all is actually like a pretty cool game. At least for its time when I played it. I don't think it's aged that well, but overall I like it a lot. It's just that you look at Dying Light, it's like this is what I expected Dead Island to be, this more polished, exciting formula, but with that same weapon crafting and stuff. So it's great stuff.
Do you know what I think? And I guess we can close on this with the zombies discussion. But I think any game that's just zombies and mindlessly killing zombies needs to be co-op. That's I think without a doubt. Because if you're on your own doing that, it's fucking boring.
Except for some reason, Dead Rising 4 got rid of it. Still shocked they haven't added it in as DLC or a free update, like, hey, co-op campaign, come play this game. Nope, they were just like...
Co-op campaign games are dying, and it breaks my heart. I could talk about that for an hour.
Luckily enough, hopefully Microsoft's leading the charge, because they said from now on, they're doing co-op and multiplayer local on every Halo moving forward because people were so angry about 5 not having it. So if Microsoft is pushing for it, let's hope others.
That's good.
You know, and we've talked about this. Developers don't want to do it because it makes their systems look like shit. I mean, they talk about it openly. They're like, it's a lot to draw. If you have one person throwing a grenade and another person fucking shooting an RPG, and they're all fighting people, it's really hard to draw it well and make it run at a good frame rate. So
makes sense.
I like. I agree with Lone. It's going away, but I hope that these companies are now starting to see that there's a huge market for it.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's why I want Borderlands 3. Because it's like one of the only games that really does it well nowadays. I'm sure there are like
who's going to have it too, which is cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
can't wait.
Other topic that I think is really something worth discussing is the Prey demo. They confirmed that a week before launch will be a demo for gamers to play for Prey, and they did the same thing.
You played it, haven't you, Matty?
Yes, I think all of us. I played it. I know, Lone, you played it. Karak, have you played Prey?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's I'm excited about that because I like how Bethesda's starting to bring back demos again. They started it with Doom. I think they did it for Dishonored 2, and I like that. I think demos offer a lot of value because we talked about this a couple of shows ago, and we were like, demos are dying. I remember specifically the last game I bought because of a demo, which was Kingdoms of Amalur. That's how long ago it was. Nowadays, it's more of the actual going on YouTube. If you're really into it, I'm saying most people just do word of mouth. But like if you're really researching, it's usually go on YouTube, read a review from IGN or GameSpot, so on.
Yeah,
that type of stuff. So to see Bethesda starting to roll back and say like, here's an hour demo, try the game out for yourself, see if you like it. I really like that because what it allows gamers to start doing again, which I think people have become too reliant on others' opinions instead of thinking for themselves, is play the game yourself and decide, is this worth my money? I got a taste of this. Do I want more? Sure, you can't get the whole idea of it, but was that enough for you to say, I want to spend my money on this? I wasn't that impressed. I'm going to hold off on it.
Yeah.
That's, I think, a good move to let, because now you could even do it on top of the research you do. Let me watch a review. Then I'm going to test this out myself. And then you make it a really informed decision. So I give Bethesda a thumbs up on that move, personally.
There's something I want to mention, too. So when the demo was released, obviously it's just PS4 and Xbox One, not PC. Now, that video where they released the demo, or they announced it, rather, has a lot of thumbs down because people are saying it's not being released on PC. Why? Like, that's going to be an indication of a bad port. Again, problems like...
I have heard someone tagged me in a Reddit post. He said, I just went and tested Prey. Here's my Reddit post, and I checked it out, and he said, game exploration, fantastic. Port was shit. And then, like, there's a comment below it who said, like, oh, wait, my port wasn't that bad. And when I played it personally, I didn't have that much struggles. And Lone, I don't know how your recent testing went.
So I played it just this week, right? And whether it's down to them having really good PCs there because they look like good PCs, but the ports there were good. Now there were, like, I'll be honest, there were instances where when you would just enter a room and as soon as you did, there was an instant frame drop and you noticed that straight away. But then it picked up back again. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because at least on the PCs that we played, and again, PC configurations differ, even between Bethesda doing these different events. I didn't have those issues with that PC version, like I even did with the first time I played the first hour of the game with the demo, because there were issues there too, but they seem to have improved upon it. And that's important because this was more towards, like, it wasn't right at the start of the game. So this was a somewhat, let's say somewhat in the early game, it was running relatively well. But again, we don't know whether that's down to having really good PCs or whatnot. But it is interesting because someone commented on my recent Prey Impressions video. They said, well, maybe they're not doing a PC port because they don't want data miners to mine the game. That's a reason, maybe. I don't know.
That's possible.
But at least with my experience, the port wasn't bad.
Every single Fallout 4 DLC leaked. I never, like, I know I think it's a good example just because it's Bethesda, but I was never concerned about missing the news for a DLC like I was, like, before Fallout 4 came out, because I knew data miners would hack and find, or whatever the word is, hack or fucking whatever. I don't know. I'm not into that type of shit, but they'd find the information and it would come out long before an announcement happened. It was inevitable because they could just dig into the information and you'd see, like, concept art, models, file names, just that would give away everything. It was all right there, and it was unavoidable because Bethesda would, I think, have like a framework or a patch involved to prepare the entire game to add the DLC in. It was something they couldn't dance around. So you do wonder if the same will happen for Prey, which I think they might be taking a greater consideration for, because it seems for an arcade game pretty narrative focused.
Now, I will say though, I know I'm taking up a lot of the discussion, but I'm not saying that that's definitely the reason of data mining and stuff, because I will be the first to admit that because this is an arcane game, same developers behind Dishonored 2. My Dishonored 2
different
PC
studio,
version
but same.
is a different studio, but same engines or essentially, right? So my Dishonored 2 port on my PC was it was shit for lack of a better term.
Thank God somebody else was saying that.
So
mine was
and I can't hide from that, right? When I still play the game weeks or months after release, that I would have to change the textures to like low in order for there not to be frame drops, especially in outdoor areas. And I stopped playing that game because there were those issues, even after several patches. So I do understand why people are concerned with there not being a PC demo for Prey, because at least you say it is arcane, it's different studios or whatever it is, but it's still arcane. It's still based on the Dishonored engine, from my knowledge. So I can see why people are concerned. I'm definitely not going to deny that.
It should be. Dishonored 2, I didn't have issues with it on my PC when I reviewed it, but a lot of people did. But the same thing happened to me with Fallout 4. A lot of people had problems. I really did not. So
I was bugged.
That's why I get nervous when I review on PC. It's a lot easier, I always say, to review on consoles, because it's like I don't have to say anything about the PC port, because, like I said, I can have a very smooth, bug-free experience like I did with Fallout 4. I know it's hard to fucking believe. No issues. But there were people bugging out there like, holy fuck, this game's broken, man. Like, I'll see videos, I'm like, whoa, I didn't have any of this. That's the shitty part about it, though, is a lot of it's circumstantial. You don't know how those bugs trigger, and the games become more and more vast. You see more of that. So,
what do you think, Alan? Are you actually looking forward to Prey? Are you concerned about potential bad PC ports?
Well, I usually play games like that on the Xbox, on the console. But Prey isn't a game I would traditionally be interested in, but having that demo lets me actually try the game first without, putting upfront investment. So it gives a chance for the consumer to make their mind up on the game that they might not be sure about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great. You have to be happy about that it shows confidence in their product that they're willing to do that.
Yes.
Well, at least with the console versions, right? We don't know the specific reason about PC.
Mm-hmm. I think what's great is obviously they put the decision in consumers' hands, and I think that's commendable. It's a shame that you have to commend it in a way, because it's like it should be.
It used to happen all the time.
Yeah.
Well, look at Microsoft. They now have the self-refunds, and people are like, "It's weird that we're celebrating that because it's a fucking refund. Why are we celebrating refunds?" But they're behind the scenes on a couple things, or behind the.
I do disagree with that, because
you disagree that it's good.
No, not that it's good.
He's like, holy shit.
No, I guess what I'm trying to say is that you could always get refunds on Xbox One. You could always do it on PS4. You could always do it on PC / Steam, right? It's just now the system that's there. You can get a refund on any game within the first 2 hours, regardless of whether it's broken or not. It's that specific feature that goes above and beyond law. It goes above and beyond, I guess, anything that a publisher legal wise is expected to do. So that's a different initiative. Like, I guess people were saying, well, you're giving us refunds now. That's stupid. But they've always had refunds. It's just now a much more streamlined process. And
I think what I'm seeing is people just sort of laughing at celebrating the more streamlined process, when in the end it probably should have been that way day one. And especially because I'm a big fan of some of these guys' refunds, and I'm not so much on others. I personally think it's awesome. Like, I think it's huge. But I also have to question how it works with Bethesda's demo, because if I play an hour of Prey, will that hour account for an hour of my purchase time as well? And then if I only get an hour into Prey, that's 2 hours. Now I can't return it. What if the second hour I don't like? Like, there's a couple little weird things that are going to happen when it comes to demos. Yeah. And I'm really interested in seeing that, because what I was going to bring up is how exciting it is that we are getting some consumer-based backup there. I think that demos and self refunds, that's 2 steps in incredibly the right direction.
And you know what I'm going to say, and this is not me bullshitting. This is thanks to Australia. The reason why Steam brought in a refund system.
Okay, so now he's going to say kangaroos and refund systems.
No. Listen. So the reason why Steam has the refund system it does now is because they were sued by the Australian Consumer Competition Committee, or whatever the fuck it's called, the ACCC. They were sued by the ACCC. Steam brought in a refund system. There's no surprise now that Microsoft's bringing the exact same system that Steam has. It's even the same playtime of 2 hours, within which you can get a refund. It's fucking us, bro.
Is that what you wanted to hear? Is that what you wanted to hear?
That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
How awesome you guys are. Thank you, Australians. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah. Regardless, I mean, I'm so stoked. I hope PSN or PS4, follows that tact and Switch. Everybody.
I think they will.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see demos start becoming a popularized thing, because I remember so fondly getting the magazine with the demo disc, popping it in and trying out a bunch of games and deciding which ones I wanted to look into buying. I've found some of my favorite games when I was growing up through demo discs. And I feel like over time, as we've all noticed, that demos have faded out in exchange for reviews and visual content coverage, which I guess is a good thing. But in a way, it's obvious. Getting your hands on the game before launch and deciding for yourself if it's worth it is fantastic, no matter who you are.
It's always better, because it doesn't matter whose review you read or watch or whatever it is, even if it's someone you followed for a while. There is no replacement for you playing the game.
This does worry. One thing with me is, let's say Bethesda makes this a trope. They're like, okay, every game we want to do like the first hour. What I don't want is that first hour to be a fucking home run. Yeah, front load, and like a Mafia 3. Like, oh my god, amazing. In the beginning, you're front loading, and then it tapers off. We've seen that with E3 as well. We'll see the E3 demo level, incredible. And when you pick up the final product, every level is like, hey, this is pretty good. And then you play that E3 level, you're like, this is exponentially in every way, shape, and form fucking better than what I've played. And I know why. It's because a million people saw this level. So that's what I'm afraid of with demos. I mean, I get it. You want to sell the product. You want to convince them this is worth it. And for some demos, it'll be, this is a sample of the entire game, where what you're playing will be equivalent in enjoyment. Yeah, we'll be there for the rest of the title and get even better.
But,
awesome.
But how do you manage that? Because I'm not saying that you're saying this. No, I know that, but like in terms of the front loading argument, like I don't want to say that. Like, I guess what you're saying is the entire game should be reflective of the first hour, right? As opposed to, well, like, don't make the first hour as good as the rest of the, is that much better than the rest of the game?
I'm not calling Persona 5 a front loader, but in a way, I'd say, like, in Karak, I'm talking about, what's one thing that's special about Persona is you'll get these animated cutscenes, and they're really detailed. They bring the characters much more to life. And in the first couple of hours in every Persona game, you see so many animated cutscenes, and it really gets you in there. But as the game goes on, the 10th, 20th, 30th, 40th hour, you don't really see them as much. Yeah. And you could argue that it is a bit of front loading, and I could totally understand. But what I'm saying is that's the type of thing I'm talking about. You see these flashy productions and all that stuff, and when you pick it up those next couple hours, wow, they're really not letting up. And then you get deeper and deeper and deeper. You're like, okay, there's a little bit less of this stuff, which for example, Persona 5, that didn't impact me at all because I know how those games work. But I'm just saying that could be a good example of what I mean by that.
There's a couple ways to fix it too. So you talk to any developers, and I'm sure we've all heard it, at least through the grapevine, that they hate making demos for E3 because it takes 6 to 8 weeks of time. Well, that's 6 to 8 weeks. What Maddie is saying is 6 to 8 weeks extra time got spent on whatever they're showing you. And so that level has 6 or 8 weeks of extra polish. And that's absolutely correct. Now, some developers will say that they even that out. But I think we all know that might be difficult because as development gets into that end time anyway, it's hard to balance. So I think there's that. And then I think the fact that the front loading has become a real thing. There's a couple games that I've called out where I really truly believe that they've been front loaded for quick looks, and it disgusts me. I've even talked to some of the developers of the companies. I'm like, you can't tell me it's not being front loaded. Mafia 3 was fucking front loaded like a bitch.
The game.
And I want to kick somebody in the balls because of how front loaded that is. And so I love the idea of a demo, right? I love the idea of reviews. I love the ideas and the refunds. I think these are all a good stepping stone, but for me personally, it's nowhere near done. There needs to be some pretty serious stuff on the consumer side that protects them, especially PC owners. Like, it's crazy as a PC owner where I can have a different experience dramatically. Yeah. Sounds like Lone and I had a good experience, but dramatically than, let's say, Matty. And they need to figure that shit out prior. It has to start fucking happening, or you're going to have a consumer backlash. And we've already got little bits of one. The
interesting thing is because I can understand why people would say this. If you say, well, you're only doing a demo over the first hour, what happens when I get into the middle of the game and it's broken, blah, 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 blah. On the converse of that, I don't think you can ever, or should you ever do a demo that's more than the first hour, not more than the first hour, but
you mean in
a
the
different
middle?
Segment of the game or in the middle, because that's fucking terrible. That would spoil the game. You can't have a demo that's anything but the first segment of the game.
Yeah.
You can't just be dropped in the middle because that's stupid. So there's a balance that needs to be made here.
For sure. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to see even how many times have you guys seen this where they'll show a trailer of a video game and you'd be like, that fucking power is not first level. Like, they'll be like, I'm destroying the world. And you're all, matter of fact, what's the Jedi game where he stops the fucking Star Destroyer? Or he stops
not Force Awakens. Holy crap. Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, wait, what's going on here? And
I mean, that first one, you do some insane stuff beginning to end. Like when you're assassinating that one Jedi, I forgot his name, the blind guy, and you like dive out of the fucking Star Destroyer and you're like plummeting down to a planet. That game
At some point, you're like, why does everybody else suck compared to this dude? You're like, this guy's like Emperor level. Game. Yeah.
But last topic we have, and we're a little short on time, is the Project Scorpio dev kits. I didn't know much about this at all. I know, Lone, you brought it up, or was it Karak?
I think brought it up, yeah. No, I was going to say, so Project Scorpio dev kits were, well, after the whole technical announcement release by, what's it called? Eurogamer, Digital Foundry. They talked about, Xbox that is, talked about the dev kits. And we actually saw pictures of the dev kits for the Project Scorpio. And I think that they look cool. And they raised an interesting point about how the dev kits actually have twice the RAM. They're actually stronger than what the Project Scorpio will be. And the reason for that is because apparently, anyways, according to Phil Spencer, it's much easier for a developer to make the game at a higher performance level and scale down, and instead of going opposite. And it's pretty cool because at the front of the dev kit, you've got like the frames per second that the game is running at. You have this switch where you can instantly change the dev kit from running at the higher performance to running at the stock Xbox One, and then to the Project Scorpio's release. So it was just kind of cool to know about that development.
That is cool.
It's got 12 gigabytes versus 8, right? It's got 24 versus 12. I'm sorry.
24 versus 12, yeah.
And then it's got some more CUs, which computational units. I will say one thing, because I know some developers sort of hee-hawed about Phil Spencer's comment. It is true that all development kits are more powerful. Everyone. Yeah. But what Phil Spencer's been talking about is hats off to Microsoft. They've actually got a couple things that are unique, and one of those is to go in there and look at the restrictions on Xbox One games, why they were having issues, and sort of looking at the way the SKU works and the ease. You talk to a QA guy, and he's like, the ability to push a button and switch between versions or whatever is pretty insane. Like that anything that helps the development. I think it's cool. I do have to ask you guys though, when you saw the look of it, I think I said in our tweets, I was like, you know what? I wonder if this is sort of just going to be the way it looks, because they want to keep the S. They want to keep the S look. They've said that. So it's like that is an S/X. Like, will they do the white with the black and separate it and just be like, because it's going to be called the Xbox Elite. We already know that.
We'll ask Aled. Aled, have you seen the Scorpio dev kits, and do you think the final console is going to look like that?
Well, I had a look today, and Yeah, I really like the look of the dev kits. I think there'll be probably some differentiations between the dev kits and the finished product. But if they stick with white and the black, as you were saying, I'd be happy. As my Xbox One is white at the minute.
Oh, so you have the Xbox One S?
Kind of looks like a VCR. I guess that's what people made jokes about with the Xbox One originally. They were like, "Yeah, it was a VCR."
Yeah. So this is a question that I want to ask. We can start with Alid and then move on. So this is me as someone with an Xbox One, the day one edition, in fact. So it's a bit slow at the moment, and a PC. I would love to be able to pick up the Project Scorpio, but I can't justify the purchase yet because I barely play my Xbox One. I usually play PC games because most games that are on the Xbox One are available on PC. Is anyone going to buy this console?
I will, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. But you have a PC and you have an Xbox One, so what's the incentive there? Just the graphics?
Yeah, I'd say the graphics. And, well, I've bought a 4K television, so I've already got that already, so I think I can justify buying the Scorpio for that.
Yeah.
I just really like the concept of the Scorpio itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm. But would you have purchased it if you hadn't had previously purchased a 4K TV? Would you go out, because a lot of people don't have a 4K TV, would you go out for the Project Scorpio and say, I'm going to buy the Scorpio and a 4K TV, even though I have a PC, and even though I have a previous Xbox One? Is that enough of a draw factor?
No, not really. I wouldn't say that, but it's just a coincidence that I had a TV and it was coming out. So yeah, I wouldn't say it justifies a 4K TV and a Scorpio. I mean, 4K TVs go quite expensive now, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it, there's the HDR issue, which a lot of monitors don't do it. I think there's 2 that have been announced that are even going to do HDR. So I know a lot of people have a PC, but they want to see HDR. So it's like, I can buy an Xbox One S or a PS4 and do that. So you have that. You additionally have the fact that 1080p games are all going to be downscaled from 4K. And if you've seen downscaled, it's insane. Like there is no anti-aliasing that equals a downscaled title. So that'll be an improvement on a 1080 TV. For me, and everybody I know who's buying one or who is thinking about getting one, it's really a situation also that Microsoft has some really unique things that aren't at this time being mimicked, including like a fairly robust backwards compatibility that it's going to be even better on the Scorpio, then there's a thought of that. I told you guys last time, the filtering, it sounds like a small issue, but everybody I talk to about it's like, it sounds dumb, but filtering and built-in stuff like that matters when you can play an old game and it suddenly has filtering when it didn't before, or it had bilinear. And so you have little things that all sort of crop up. It's different than the PS4, which is like, we have power and independent games. I'm sorry, not independent, exclusive. And then you have like the Scorpio where it's like, no, we're not going to have exclusive games. Neither does the Pro, but we're going to perform the best on third-party games, and we're going to improve distinctly what you have currently. And so, and then the fact is, and I told Maddie this, I think it has to be a mistake. I can't believe Microsoft allows this. But the ability to buy Gears of War and play one copy on your Xbox against your PC in the same room is, I just don't know how they let that happen. Like, to me, financially, because financially it's so surprising for Microsoft to be like, Merry Christmas, free $50 game. But they do it with all their games. And that kind of stuff matters. So for folks like him and I who have an Xbox One and a PC, I have invited friends over many times and been able to play on the same copy of a game against each other. That's a huge draw for some people. Not everybody.
That is a huge draw. And it makes sense because if it's a digital game, right, then I don't see there being any reason why for the one person that buys the same digital game for you not being able to play it on your different platforms, even if it's at the same time. I get why, like, if it was a physical version, because it actually costs more to create a physical copy of the game, to manufacture it, to ship it, etc., then that makes sense. But if it's a digital copy where they're just spitting out a digital code, it's not that simple, mind you, but I think that does make sense.
I like it. I'm blown away by it. I still think Microsoft's going to send out an email and be like, we didn't realize that everybody was just going to buy one. I mean, it's not what we normally see from a company, to be honest.
Yeah, for me, I guess the way I view it is a little more simplistic. It's just I hear the idea of it's going to run games in a much better fashion. It's going to be less issues, and it's like you want to be on top of the most powerful consoles. And it's like I look at it versus the PS4 Pro as well, and I think the PS4 Pro is a joke. I don't see any reason as a owner of a PS4 in upgrading and spending another $400, $450, I'm sorry, I think it is, on it. Whereas the Scorpio, it seems like these are actual big steps forward where I could at least justify, not only in comparison, but alone, to buy that system, depending on the price, I guess. But like Karak said, I don't mean to just tag on to what he said, but it kind of was how I was feeling, is that, you know, it's really adding on to what they have been doing, you know, a better, more improved backwards compatibility and all that type of stuff. You know, because I have a 1080p TV, so for me, I'm actually, unless I upgrade, I'm probably not going to be playing on 4K. So for me to have that downscaled improvement is also going to be pretty awesome as well. So I'll have a different take on it. But overall, for me, it always boils down to the games, and that's how I feel about it, is that, okay, the games are going to be better, they're going to run better, and that's genuine. It's not like the PS4 Pro where sometimes you'll have games that run worse than on the, and I get why, Karak, because we talked about it and how they try to put more in there. So sometimes it does run worse. But it's like I want that powerful system that still runs the game at a competent level, you know what I'm saying? So that's what's most appealing to me.
Yeah, and do you know what's really scary? Like, people I talk to will say, you know, things like, well, it doesn't matter about third-party games. And I'll be like, when you bought your PS4 day one, it mattered about third-party games because there wasn't a lot of exclusives. So you can't really wake up and pretend that you have a different argument, you know, 6 months later. It's not really the way it works. And so some people are third-party fans. Some people are exclusive fans. Some people are a mix of both. I wouldn't go so far as to say I feel the Pro is a joke, but I will say that it certainly... It's a mid-step, I guess, and the software behind it doesn't seem to have... Microsoft is doing well from a failure. How about that? Microsoft has always been very good at going, whoa, we fucked up. What do we do to fix this? And I like the fact that Microsoft feels challenged and is threatened. I think the best Microsoft is a threatened Microsoft.
This is literally the best exemplification of competition being better for consumers. Like this is why a free market is so important. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. PS4 is kicking ass. Sony is kicking ass, and I don't think the Xbox One will be. It wouldn't be half the console that it is today. And this is someone that's purchased it day one and see how it's improved with backwards compat, etc. It wouldn't be half the console it is today if PS4 wasn't the console that it was.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the easiest way of saying it. It's like that's what's great though. Like the PS3 had issues, 360 had its issues, Red Ring. They've all had their issues.
God, but I was so paranoid that I used to have a fan set up right next to my Xbox TV ventilation going.
Yeah, wrap a towel around your 360.
Because I did not want it, because it was the only system I had for a while. I was like, I gotta keep this thing alive. I've had it for a while. It used to sit at the bottom, get covered in dust.
That's why we have a vacuum chamber in the fucking Xbox One Scorpio or Elite. Those kind of improvements, and you know Sony's looking at those and going, okay, like we got to, and unfortunately my PS4 is an overheating, loud turbo fan of a monster. It sounds like I'm sitting next to a goddamn, you know, turbine half the time. So my hope is that they do the same thing, you know, and they look and they go, okay, if this is working for Microsoft, let's maybe look at that for us. And it is, as Lone said, it's the best example of all of us. We wouldn't get the refunds, I don't think. Even if Australia is sending an army of kangaroos towards the United States, I don't think Microsoft would have said, okay, let's do the refunds. I think he's right. I think competition caused that. Competition caused Phil Spencer to say we need backwards compatibility if it works. We wouldn't have it. We wouldn't have half the stuff we have. Yeah. And that's awesome. Yeah. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's more so, how do I word it? I guess PS4 Pro, you couldn't call it a joke if you were like a first-time consumer of it, but I just didn't feel it was a big enough...
If you're a first-time consumer, it's a good console,
I
think.
But if you're like already owning the PS4, it didn't compel me to upgrade. And what I always thought would be cool if they did was made an external thing that plugged into your original PS4 that maybe overclocked certain things.
Yeah, you know what's funny?
Something that powers it up a little bit more, though, so that
they got 32X.
Hold up, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the PS4 do that with VR? Doesn't it have an extra box that makes it run at a higher frame rate? So they actually do have that.
The processing box does handle 3D audio as well as some, the reprojection is what it's called.
There you go.
Interesting. So I was wrong.
And by the way, guys, I got my PSVR to work on my PC, which was pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, they've got a program now that allows you to, so like you can play, it appears to be a Vive to the PC. So watching some movies, check it. It unfortunately doesn't have a couple different types of head tracking. It's got one type, but it doesn't do room scale. But I was pretty impressed to sort of see how easy it was to get it to run. Because there was a rumor at one time that Sony was looking at like a PC version of that. And I don't think that's ever come about, but it's very comfortable, which is always nice.
Yes, interesting. That's what I've heard. I mean, I've tried it too, and it was
compared to the Vive. The Vive is like, dude, it's like me strapping you to my forehead, man. The entire day, your back hurts when you get done, and you're like, was it worth it?
Fuck that. But that's all the news we had to run down this week.
Overall. I have a question for Lone. Yes. If you guys have a moment.
Of course.
Yeah.
Ayla, do you have a moment?
Yeah. Okay.
Lone, I cannot remember this, so I had to ask you. You don't get a chance to play a ton of games for a long period of time, right? Isn't that what we sort of broke down? Okay.
Correct.
So here's me asking you, what causes you to play, ignoring Zelda, because it's Zelda, right?
Yeah.
What causes you personally to go, okay, this is a game that like I want to put time in it? Is it prior to getting it? Like, is it because of the trailers? Is it because I think you're a perfect example, to be honest, of a current gamer who doesn't play deeply into a lot of games. It's true. What did they? Steam said 80% of people don't finish games. Yeah. Something like that. It's crazy.
It kills me.
So what causes you to go, this is the shit for me?
Fuck, that's a really good question. It's definitely not before the game, because obviously the decision to stop playing a game will happen while you're playing the game, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think people will look at a game, say, I'm going to buy it, but not finish it. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Like, maybe like there are some games that are like that. There, like if it's a big open world game. Like I know some people that haven't finished the main quest for Skyrim, for instance, even though they put hundreds of hours into it. Right? Well, Alan, like exactly right. But for me, the reason why I will just continue to play into a game, I don't know. For me, it's story. I think it's story and narrative. So long as there's something pushing me along, and we were talking about this before. I don't know if this was before the podcast or during, where I don't like playing a game if there's not a main mission to complete. I don't like playing Fallout, finishing the main quest and then just doing side quests. I need something to push me along, and so long as there's that there, I will continue to play the game. So if we're looking at Zelda Breath of the Wild, I haven't finished the main quest intentionally. So as I'm doing these side quests and exploring and stuff, which I do love to do, I've always got at the back of my mind, there's still something more for me to do. Like the main quest is still the focus for me. So I guess that's the best answer I can give.
Man, I wish I lived near you, because you and I are identical. I was joking with friends. I just call it like, the cat trap or the animal trap where there's a little bit of bait, and I have to leave. I have to play a game with myself. It's stupid because it's embarrassing, because I have to admit it. But some games I leave a little bait that will. Yeah. So GTA, for example, I play GTA and I would leave that story mission because I'd be like, okay, when side missions become like repetitive or whatever, I have this main mission.
They frequently do. Yeah,
and they frequently do, and it works for me. So I always wanted to know what you thought.
The lure of games, I think, for everyone is the reward. Some people have, for example, when I was reviewing Doom, I was like, they constantly reward you for those new weapons, and I thought the game tapered off a little bit towards the end because they stopped rewarding you. People were like, oh, you're an idiot. You always need the carrot in front of you. But I'm like, part of the fun of a game is overcoming a challenge, earning a reward, something along those lines. And it's always been that theme under most of them. It's either a story rewards you with something really interesting about its universe, you get awesome loot, something along those lines. So I think it's not really bad to leave something ahead of you to.
I just find it embarrassing that I have to do it. Like, I wish developers did it right. Like, and they try. Some do, where they're like, you can't do this main mission till you level up. But that becomes like a meta thing instead of in the game where it makes sense, where it's like you have to find 7 clues. I would rather have that than you have to get to level 7. Like, one is a game and one is in the game. Huge difference to me. But the reason why I was asking Lone is because he's like, every time we talk, you know, it's like, I've only played this game deep, and I've touched this one and touched that one. And I didn't want to go with Zelda because I think that that's just that's the easy one, even though he has hit on something that on our podcast we talked about for hours, which is Zelda doesn't reward you very well for particular dungeons, getting item. And so I didn't want to talk about that because I knew that we already had covered it. But because he is sort of I mean, in all honesty, he's not. I think he's more realistic of a normal gamer than, for example, Maddie and I. And Aelid, what do you do? Do you find, like, what causes you to continue to play a game?
Well, as Lone said, it's that little nugget you want to go back to. But in the case of me and Skyrim, that nugget has just always been there. I've never actually gone back to finish it.
It makes you feel like it's not done, so there's always something worth going back to. It is a mind game. Now that you mentioned it, I've done it a couple of times where your adventure's not really done until it's done. I mean, there's some people, this is a more somber example, but for example, I remember there was that kid whose dad passed away, and he was about to beat his dad's like ghost data in a race, and he intentionally let him win, so the game really never ended for him. You know, it's always still something left for him in that game, so to say. Like I said, I know it's a sad example, but it's like that type of thing where you leave a little something there, and it's always worth coming back to. And so, yeah, I that's not unusual or rare. I play mine differently. I scatter them out a little bit. I mean, it really depends, though. Because some games, like Mass Effect Andromeda, I was like, fuck, get me through this already. You know, I like the side quest. I was like, please, just too much right now. Just get me through the main story. Fallout 4 is an example I can recall where I was like, dude, give me the side shit. Just give it all to me. And like, I left the main story for a while, and I come back, and I just keep like mixing and matching between them, and until I had it like all done and just finished the main mission, and that was it. So yeah, I see. What
Aelid, Aelid? Am I pronouncing that right?
Aelid. Yeah.
Aelid. I apologize. So is there a game that you remember that you were like, this holds? I don't want to hold up Maddie because I think Maddie has a. I can't remember which of us have something we have to do. A couple minutes left. Okay. But is there a game that you're like, that you remember distinctly going, I'm going to play it, and then you were like, no, I'm going to play it? Like, you know.
I don't know if you know the game. Do you remember the Conflict series?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved those games, and I did one mission a day, and it was, just to spread it out and really enjoy the world. I had like how many games did they make? They made like 3 or 4.
Three, I think.
Yeah, and I had them all in one go, so I just binged for like a month.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I just wanted to get an idea because everybody's different on that, and it's weird what causes you to like continue to play it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's different for everybody, I guess, but it's nice to hear that there's some overlapping stuff for some of us. Lone and I, we're pretty much in the same boat for like faking ourselves out and holding missions back. Like, I'm gonna have to develop your game for you because I don't like the way it's doling out missions.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Well, we're out of time, sadly. I do apologize. I mean, this 1 hour and 22 minutes, not too bad, but usually we sit around the 2 hour range. Yeah, not too bad for the time squeeze we had. Alan, thank you so much for joining us. Really had a great time, and obviously I'll talk to you later on this month.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for joining us. Karak, Lone, as always, you guys are fantastic. And thank you, the listener, for staying tuned this entire episode. We hope you enjoyed, and we will catch you next week.
Peace out.